TikTok CEO showed up in Congress, man, and didn't go well, man. Didn't go well. So Chu, CEO of TikTok, showed up. I think all the tech CEOs is just the rite of passage now that you show up and get questioned by Congress, right? So he shows up, and then obviously, he's got some prepared statements and saying, "Hey, TikTok's independent. We're good for the countries." So basically, why he showed up is there's been growing concern about TikTok's influence in the younger generation, specifically because TikTok is, run by the Chinese government, right? And,
Dun dun dun.
yes. And so that is, national security and a lot of other issues. And it's a known fact. I mean, there's been studies and everything about, how they block certain things from their, version of TikTok in China, but on ours, they just let it go. There's been studies that shows like the content they show, the algorithm shows
Yeah.
us, kind of shows us more content related to, things that are not positive and more a little dumbing down of our teenagers and
It's
things
a
like that.
it's a completely separate app. It's not like, TikTok and, like, in the little Chinese letters in the corner. It's a different app, but
Yeah.
it's like TikTok. It's their when they say their version of it, it's not like they have McDonald's over there. It's some other restaurant that serves burgers, fries, and all that. Same thing with TikTok. It's not like TikTok of China. It's I forgot what the name of the app is, but it's a whole different app. And yeah, they show educational videos and it's much more positive and uplifting, it seems.
Yeah. So the Wall Street Journal talked about his visit. They talked about he mentioned that 60% of ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is owned by global investors. So and that's it. 20% by employees, 20% by its founders. They're trying to counter with major outreach efforts in Washington, increased lobbying, public relations. I think he had a couple of TikTok influencers. One was I think a math teacher that showed up with him to kind of show the positives of TikTok. But and I think he also kind of pointed the finger and say, "Hey, don't just look at us. Look at all the tech. Like Facebook, Instagram. I mean, it's a net negative, not just TikTok, right? When you look at social media, so why you targeting us? But you know what? It's just this the first time I don't know I've seen in a long time where there's bipartisan support, right? Both Republicans and Democrats are online. It was amazing. You see, Democrats who probably and Republicans who yell at each other, they're actually in agreement on a lot of this stuff. And so I do see there would be some regulation. Now, from a business standpoint, what does that mean? If we do create a ban, what would happen across the world right now? China already bans a lot of our apps anyway. You know, India's already banned TikTok. So it's not like China's really going to, mess us up too much.
Yeah.
Maybe Elon Musk might get a little upset. They kick Tesla out, right? His numbers. But I think, it sets a precedent, where it's like, okay, well, US, you're going to ban our growing app, then we'll ban your app, right? We'll create, a knockoff, right? And compete against you. So anyway, so it's kind of interesting. And legally, can they do that, right? So is this entity, can you just create a ban on it? I guess they could if it's under what's it called, security, and say, hey, this is unduly influencing our youth and it's being run by the Chinese government. This is a national security risk,
Yeah.
just ban it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you feel on this, but a lot of people are saying that, well, it's the same thing as what, Facebook and Google are doing. And, I always come back with two separate arguments. Like one, those are US companies you're talking about. So them doing nefarious things with our data is far more contained and controlled, I suppose, than it would be if
Can I can
it's
I put a counter to your counter?
well, okay, if I hadn't yeah, before I go on to my second point, go ahead and counter that, jump in.
Yes, but Facebook was co-opted by a foreign entity to unduly influence our elections, right? So, yes, it's American grown but it was still co-opted and
Sure,
used
sure.
against us.
Can't the
So,
Cambridge Analytica,
yep.
thing, if you wanna go looking into that, that's definitely true, definitely a problem. But if it was, Russian influence into, a Chinese-owned company, that's a little scarier to me. There's just there is that big difference there, so no telling what would have happened if, it was TikTok and China, and we don't know what's gonna happen coming this next election. I'm sure we'll see. Sure, things will be uncovered, but it's hard to uncover this stuff because it's in China. So we can't just go ask them for all. It's like, hey, what are you doing with this data? It's like Facebook will give up the goods. China, not so much.
Mm.
And the second point is that crap, I forgot my second point. See?
Counter to the counter, mister. Count them again. That's how you
Uh,
win arguments, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, actually it is. No, but, if it's owned by it's owned by an American company, and, also, it's not technically doing the same thing. Like, people just say, "Hey, it's doing the same thing, it's recording data." The amount of data, the way it stores data, their terms of service, and all of the things that it allows, it opens the door for far more problems than Facebook and these other social media apps do. So, uh, and there's a reason why the U.S. government has banned it from, the politicians' phones and any state workers' phones that you use for state business, is because it can do all this other stuff that these other apps don't do. So there is that bit. They're not, you know, these are not exactly the same. So
Yeah,
you
I
can go
agree.
look into that too.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was like keystroke, hacking. There's ways they can figure out what you're typing in, things like that, which
Mhm.
you're right, a lot of these other apps can't do. And so, yeah, and especially if it was run by a foreign entity, especially one that's not super friendly with us, right? So definitely that does pose a risk.
To put it
So I mean,
lightly.
so I would say this. I mean, could is there be a ban? I mean, I don't know, but I do feel like there could be a way where they figure out how to, get the spin-off. Now, I don't know how they're gonna do that either because it's a Chinese run company, and the Chinese have already shot back and said, you know, we're not gonna spin off, TikTok, right? So
Yeah.
so it's gonna be interesting how this is gonna work. It may be some kind of ban, but man, I don't know. What's the rest of these teenagers, what they're gonna do now that TikTok is gone, the algorithm feed,
All
boy.
all 100. How many is it in the US? 150,000,000, something like that, I heard?
Sounds something like yeah, sounds about
Yeah.
right, man.
So
It's yeah.
we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Are you gonna be one of those screaming, storming? It's gonna be another January 6th storming the Capitol for
Oh,
TikTok.
man, I already deleted my TikTok. I'm done with that. Did that last week. I went
Oh.
I went s I went semi-viral and was like, "I'm cool with this," and was done.
Mr. Benja, done. One and done, son. I retired undefeated. All
Alright.
right, man. What's up? What's next?